Good afternoon, everyone. I think it's a real pleasure to be here talking to all bright young minds like you. And through the session, I am feeling a lot more inspired. I think it's a great, wonderful opportunity. Thank you, Ted. Thank you. IIM-Rohtak. It's a wonderful opportunity. It's a wonderful experience to be here talking to people like you. Okay, so children can change the world, but can they? And do they really need to be bothered about such a daunting task like changing the world? I'm going to structure my thoughts in my talk in three parts. First part, I'll try to talk about the broader context of education. In the second part, I will talk a little bit about my Teach for India experience. I'll tell you about Teach for India in a little bit detail. And then in the last part, I'll talk about Alumur, which is an organization that I have started earlier this year, and I'm working on that. So, India is a young country. We all know about say 40% of population is below the age of 18, which makes children the biggest stakeholder in the future. So definitely children have to involve themselves in the process. But the education system, which is supposed to set them up for success for future, has actually failed them miserably. If we just look at couple of numbers from the ASA report, of course published by Pratham, about the rural state of education in India. Couple of numbers, 97% is the enrollment into primary education. That gives us a lot of hope. That shows us hopefully we will be reaching out to all the children and including them into the education structure. But the other number is a bit of a concern. It says 90% is the dropout rate. And by 90%, that means that through the schooling, 90% of children enrolled in the school actually do not reach the college stage. Just imagine the amount of potential which is being wasted, and this is a similar number is if we include urban India as well. And just take a moment to think about these numbers. What do they mean for you? Like 90% dropout. I think I feel really privileged. I feel privileged because I've been part of some of the best colleges in India. I feel privileged because I come from a family which valued education and which gave me the means to pursue my dreams. And I really feel privileged because I had the opportunity of working in some of the best organizations and working on some best amazing experiences. So I graduated from IIT-Madras 5 in electrical and electronics engineering. I went on to complete my MBA from IIM-Lucknow in marketing and strategy. That is where I took the plunge into the corporate world. I was working with Pepsi for about 2.5 years, frontline sales, handling a team posted in upcountry Maharashtra. My main struggle was food, to be very honest. My targets were pretty reasonable, so I was growing much ahead of my desired objectives. Even at Citibank, I did pretty well as an employee. I was doing quite well. But then then I got this email from HR team at Citibank, and that they were offering a 2-year sabbatical, 2 full-year paid sabbatical. Okay, not fully paid, but paid sabbatical to actually go and join this Teach for India fellowship. And I thought it would be a risk-free experiment, and hence I decided to take the plunge into Teach for India experience. Now, just to tell you about Teach for India is a 2-year full-time commitment. You are actually teaching like a regular teacher in government schools or under-resourced schools, depending on availability. You go there, you work with those children. This is my school, and I was fortunate enough to be teaching a group of bright young girls. I had 37 girls in my class, and you can imagine my condition coming from a AC office talking about strategic stuff, going straight back into a classroom which had 37 second grade girls, and half of the time even electricity won't be there. So that was the kind of shift I underwent. But I feel that I really grew as a person during my Teach for India fellowship. As a person, I really learned a lot. I think I learned much more than what I could teach my kids. I was there for 2 years in second and the third grade. I was posted in a government school in Ayanagar. Ayanagar is a community at the border of Delhi and Gurgaon, which is fairly neglected. It's kind of an urban slum. The household incomes are 7 to 8 thousand. The family size would be 7 to 8 or 6 to 7, with 4 5 children in the families. So while working in my corporate world, I had never imagined that people still have 4 children. People still have 5 children in the families. And the reason, of course, is to have a male child. They have 3 girls, 4 girls till the time they have a male child. So with these issues, with this background, I started my Teach for India journey. There are numerous stories which I can tell you, numerous stories from my classroom which have shaped me as a person, which have shaped my thoughts. And when I was preparing for the talk here, I thought hard as what kind of stories will make sense for the audience, what kind of stories which will demonstrate my growth, my learning. And then finally I have narrowed down to 3, not very happily, but I'm going to tell you these 3 stories, some of my kids. So first story is about a girl named Mofida. She was a fairly disruptive child in class. She wouldn't sit in class. She did not enjoy studying. She would not let other children study. And she was like a troublemaker in the class. Of course, her morale was low, her academic performance was poor, and she was not doing well in class. And she basically did not want to come to school. Now, this all changed when I introduced my class to football. Interestingly, we were basically trying to participate in a football inter-school competition, and these are all about 9-year-olds, right? And Mofida was a natural at it. She really picked up football very fast. And in a couple of months, she was a striker in the team. She would play the forward position. And when in an inter-school competition, we played an all-boys team, our all-girls team won, and Mofida actually scored the winning goal. So you can imagine the amount of confidence boost it will give that girl. But Mofida not only excelled at sports, soon her academic performance was better. Soon her focus in the classroom was like much more. She would behave in class, she would try to help other people, and most of all, she really wanted to come to school. So that kind of a shift, and I really thought hard about it. What happened? Is it only football? And of course, it is important to identify your passion, and hence which allows you to achieve your potential, very important. But as a system, as a family, as a society, we have to give that element of choice. I think what some kids picked up football, some kids picked up art, some kids picked up dance, but I think that the shift was that they were free to choose. And I think that element of choice is very critical. That brings me to my next story, which is about a second girl, another 9-year-old in my class. She was a very bright, academically bright child. All kids are bright. This girl was really bright academically. So she was brilliant at maths. She would write brilliant stories. But the challenge I was facing with Pratibha was that she did not like helping other children. Now, why is it a problem? Like helping children, there are a lot of people like that, right? Who don't want to help people. But I was trying to set up a culture of collaboration in the class where collectively we move upwards, and the culture of class was getting impacted. So we were really struggling. We tried a lot of ways, but I was just not able to break ice with Pratibha. She was academically very good, so everyone else was very happy with her. Something changed when we started a community center. So some of us got together. We started a community center for remedial education, and the unique thing was that it was a 100% peer learning space. We did not teach there. We just trained some students as teachers, and they went ahead and did the teaching. So now, since Pratibha was academically good, we were considering whether we should get her to teach or not. We were really skeptical whether she will be able to take care of her students, take care of her peers, but we decided to go ahead with it. But as I noticed, I think it was again a transformative change for Pratibha. As soon as she got more responsibility, she really owned the responsibility. She really took care of her kids in terms of she would come prepared with a lesson plan, and she would really take care. She was invested in her students, she was invested in her personal growth, and there was a complete transformation in a few months again. And looking back, I feel that children need to be taken seriously. Their views and opinions have to be respected. They are ready to take as much responsibility as we are ready to let go from us. I think that was a big learning for me. Children can take responsibility. Children can be children have strong opinions and views. Quickly telling you a third story about a girl named Ishita. So this was again a sharp girl, but slightly casual approach. She wouldn't do things the way a student's supposed to do. And okay, just to give you a little bit more context, I was trying to solve an issue for my kids about the gender discrimination which was happening. As I already told you, a lot of resources were being spent on the male child, and my students were struggling. So I thought that maybe if I can work with some others, empower them, there'll be role models inside their houses, and another financial revenue stream coming in. It will go to my children's education. Now, Ishita's mother joined the group. There were about 14 women, but one day she stopped coming. When I dug deep, when I went to Ishita's house, tried to understand why her mother is not coming, I came to know that the father has refused to let her go because of some miscommunication. I really tried hard to get her back, but it just didn't work. And this is when Ishita decided to take matters on her own hand. She said, elders are useless, they are not going to do anything, let me take care of my mother. And she protested with the family. She actually fought with the father, got him back to the discussion table, and within a few days Ishita's mother was back to work. And this was totally because of Ishita, the amount of ownership she took up for this issue. So this taught me that children can really be strong change makers inside their families, inside the communities. If they understand the issue, if they are taken seriously, they can be really strong change makers. Coming to Alumur is an organization that we started earlier this year. The philosophy remains the same. We want to take children seriously, give voices to their opinions, and then involve them in the process of social change. We are trying to create lots of platforms. We do conferences, we do workshops with these kids. We are working across income segments. The problem remains the same, be it lower income student or be it coming from progressive students. One example was Children for Change workshop, where we invited children from 9 progressive schools to solve problem for 3 real world NGOs. So they interacted with real people, they interacted with real NGOs, and they worked on real issues. So I'm sure you would be aware of the 21st century skill framework. That is a framework which a lot of organizations have researched and figured out what skills do kids need now to be able to be successful 10 years or 20 years from now. We can't predict the kind of jobs that will exist, but still can we give them some key skills. So we focus on 2 key 21st century skills, which is, first one is problem solving, and the second is building citizenship and socio-cultural awareness. Problem solving we do through human-centric design thinking framework, which is a standardized framework, very simplistic. We teach the process. Children use this process to implement certain innovative solutions to existing real life challenges. This is what we are doing right now. We're working in higher income schools. We are also working with our Teach for India underserved kind of communities as well. What next for us? And I think the question is really important for me personally, because coming from in IIT, IIM, then corporate kind of a background, and coming to a Teach for India kind of experience, I think I have taken a long time to try and understand my personal vision, what I want to do as a person. And this question is really important because maybe there is not so much scope of experimenting now. I need to quickly come to terms with what I want to achieve. I will keep on experimenting till I reach there. But what next? We are also trying to create some kind of fellowship for under-resourced, underprivileged children from under-resourced communities, longer projects, because they need a lot more support rather than a progressive kind of school structure. We are also looking at college students coming in and working some real projects with the social organizations. The intent here is to actually help the curriculum delivery as well. Because if a marketing student actually comes and sets up, say, a distribution structure for a group of women who are trying to make certain products like we did in our community, something like that would be really, really impactful, that students will learn better and they will really contribute. And another thought, and that is a very, very critical thought, is that students of today, and a lot of students are sitting here, you are going to be decision makers and leaders of tomorrow, right? And if you do not understand the social issues, then your decisions 10 or 20 years from now will not reflect that consciousness, right? So the important thing is for you also to actually understand the complexity, the interconnectedness of issues, so that once you are in decision making position, you don't take decisions which are socially and environmentally harmful, right? So that is something that we are planning, and I think through all my experiences, I am pretty convinced that given the right environment, given the respect to views of children, given we take children seriously, they can be the strongest change makers and they can really change the world. Thank you.